the 3 lessons I learned leverage trading for just one day. So completely new to trading with leverage. While the market is bearish, I was like, hey, why not learn something new? Why not take a small amount of money and see what we can actually do? Now, duly note that I'm not a technical analyst. I don't know anything about day trading. I'm just here documenting my journey on what I'm learning, what I'm seeing, because there's so much information when it comes down to these day trades. Leverage trading. So what I'm using is I'm on the Bybit platform because in my country I cannot use Binance futures, unfortunately. So yesterday I made the first video. If you haven't seen that yet, make sure to check that out as well. But basically I'm working with 1,000 USDT, trying to build it up as high as possible. What I'm trading is derivatives. I do USDT perpetual and then Ethereum USDT pair. One of the most often used pairings. Why? I don't know why, simply because I saw a tutorial basically showing how to do this based on that pairing. So I think let's keep it simple. Let's learn as much as possible, not make it overcomplicated, and do that. So my trade, which I opened last night, is about $200 profit so far. So that's pretty good. But I'm trying to recuperate some losses. So on the overview, you can see after gaining about $700 yesterday on my first day, I blew it within a couple of minutes. I don't know if the time is there. Yeah, this was like 12 minutes, 15 minutes. And then my short got liquidated, basically $500 in the minus last night. Because of that pump. So that was a good lesson already on the first day. So on the first day, basically I've never traded futures before or anything like this. So I was new to the dashboard, I was new to the settings. I played around with this, right? So I started with, I think, 2.5 leverage. I tried 10 leverage. I tried even higher. I tried the shorts. I moved it around a little bit, but it's definitely an interesting process, right? So definitely more on the gambling side for me in terms of what I'm doing and how I focus. So I'm using quite a basic strategy, which means just general market sentiment. So what I noticed is if I do like the smaller trades, which I did yesterday, which you can see right here, right, just playing around with like 1 cent, even like 12 ETH with some leverage, right? I was basically opening the trade and then closing it like 2 minutes later, picking up like $50 profit, $80, $120 with a little bit more risk, right? This one was also open for about 5 minutes, but it wasn't really a substantial amount of time. And what I noticed was it's very time consuming. You know, I own a lot of different companies. I get messages all throughout the day, and I need to focus on the work that has to be done. So I can't be playing around with these charts all day. Although it would be fun, it is definitely in my position not recommended. So what I decided to do basically is open a trade which either is allowed to go 50% in the minus or a 50% in the profit based on the stop loss. So because I only had 500, I have no stop loss right now. Because basically it either gets liquidated, but it would only get liquidated at 1400, which I think is not going to happen. So this is a less riskier bet, right? And that's basically one of the lessons that I learned in the last 24 hours. The main lesson is be very careful how you set this up, the long and the short leverage, right? Because the high amounts obviously allow you to accumulate faster, but also to lose faster. And I think when time is a relative metric, you rather be like even 2.5 is probably the safest side. So right now I'm using 3.67. I don't know how that happened, but maybe that's the maximum I could use. I'm not sure. And it's only a 2.41 ETH amount. So the leverage is not as significant on my $500 bet. I'm basically working with 2,800, 3 times, so 1,600, but then because I'm up a little bit, the amount in my account is also up a little bit, right? And the strategy that I've been using when I was doing the short-term thing, so I can't really say about the longer-term one, so the trade that I'm running right now because it hasn't closed yet, But what I liked about the short-term flips is basically once you see a lot of green, short. Once you see a lot of red, go long, right? Because there's like small patterns in there as well. Which basically allowed me to stack $700 yesterday. Then I increased the leverage and lost it, of course. And those are the lessons that I'm actually looking for. I'm not specifically looking to make a ton of money here. That would be nice. But specifically looking to learn how these things work, as you know, they give a lot of metrics and there's a lot of data points here, but I have no point what that means. I don't know what funding made means. I don't know what countdown means. They have like explanations and stuff. Which I think, so there's a countdown on it as well. Okay, every 8 hours it gets refreshed. But I still would have to explore everything and try to learn how it's all working. But so far it's quite interesting just to see what can be done, right, in this case. So I could close my position now, add 200 to my balance, and then my balance right now is 776. And then I could basically change my trade from short to long and basically ride the wave up, right? As soon as I see it go down, short that shit. And I think even with just $500, it's quite risky, right? So obviously not financial advice, only invest what you're willing to lose. But I think if you play the chart a little bit with full focus, right? With $500, you should be able to make $500. Just stay with like the 2x leverage. I think that would be like my main strategy. Don't become impatient. As soon as you become impatient, you become greedy. That's where you basically fuck up, or at least that's where I fucked up. And every single time when I'm doing trades, I never did futures, but I did do some spot trading before. I always fucked up when I became greedy, right? And it's like a natural occurrence, I would say, because we're only human, you know. It's quite easy money. I mean, $200 for doing nothing, just putting in the thingy, right? But don't forget that because you make $200, it means somebody else needs to lose $200, right? So basically, what I do is I put, let's say we put the long at 2, and we put the spot also at 2, right? Confirm. Okay, so it can't update because it doesn't have any balance. But okay, so then I put in the cost, so let's say 50% of what you want to do. So this is the balance, right? And then you can basically put in a take profit strategy and a stop loss already. And I think that would definitely be recommended, right? So now I only have a take profit because it's the last 500 in the account. So once it basically goes, I don't have to put a stop loss at like 100% because it would get liquidated anyway. So it's basically focused on the liquidation and not so much on the stop loss. Otherwise, for the other trades, I use the stop loss and I use the take profit. So obviously it could go down more, you would make more profit, but at some point I think to secure the profits is one of the most important things, right? So then when the trade is opened, all I do is, so when before on the smaller trades, I was watching the chart live, right? So basically I was looking at this 1 minute candles, green, 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 green. I see the first red candle, I sell on market. So I close on market, secure the profit, then I short it. Then you get like 2-3 red candles and then close on market, right? Just taking $20-$50. You might see a candle like this, and that's like how I got the $100, right? It just pushed up like crazy. That's nice, but this might also work against you when you're shorting it. So better to close positions early, in my opinion, than close positions too late. Unless you're playing like a longer game, like I'm doing right now. You know, it's every time it's hovering around 200, went to 250, went down back to 200. It depends, but in the last like 6 hours, it did quite well by making this downward move, right? From 1180 to about 1,100, but it doesn't close until I think 1,018 is my, take profit 1,018. See, I still even have to look for it. I'm not really used to this overview just yet. But then you can do close by limit, so the closing price. And what I think is nice is that basically you can close smaller positions as well. So you can basically bracket it down how you would want to go about it. And it shows what your profit would be, inclusive of the closing fees, what that would cost and what that would look like. Which basically gives you the idea of how much profit you would be left with if you close. And then you could also, when you adjust here, so the take profit, again, it shows what it would look like, and you can also put the stop loss there if you would like to. So it's not really a complex system. I understand there's like a lot of moving parts, right? You have like this impressive looking overview. You have like all the trades that are happening. I barely look at this, right? So the difference between this one and this one is also a little bit unclear for me. Okay, so the liquidation price is matched here and not here. So this one, yeah, so it needs to go up like $300 before I get liquidated, and it's more likely to go down, right? And again, right now it's going down, and you can see that by the profit slowly going up. At some point, if it moves too slow and I have time to actually do some day trades, maybe sit here for an hour, I might do some like playing around, but I have quite a busy day. I wanted to just make this recording for you. In the hopes that you understand what I'm trying to do and obviously keep you up to date on the journey. So I started with 1,000, now we're back at 778. As I said, if I lose the 1,000, it's not a problem. There's a lot more funds to play with, but I don't really want to play with big funds. I just want to learn and see if I do things correctly with small amount of money. That's like the biggest lesson, right? So lesson number 2, make sure you understand the entire dashboard. Right, very important. And lesson number 3, if you're going to play, and I say play, not invest, because this for me is more playing and gambling than really investing. When I invest in companies or other assets, it's with like a existing exit plan, right? How I'm going to make money. And this is like speculation assets. Supply and demand still applies, but it's not as easy to predict, definitely. Maybe on the longer term easier than the shorter term, right? However, only play with money you're willing to lose. So if you are trying to learn, I don't see why you would have to play with more than $100, right? If you use $100 and are able to do trades, then I think you will have a very good experience. As you could see in the closed P&L, I started by just playing like cents, right? I was doing like half of a cent profit, 1 cent profit, 3 cents profit, right? And that's how I build it up, 90 cents profit. First, I wanted to understand, how does all these things work? Why is it working such a way, right? Which I think is really important to consider. So those are my 3 lessons that I learned in the last 24 hours trying leverage trading. Keep subscribed, or if you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure to do so to keep up to date with my crypto journey, whatever it is that I might cover. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.